Hey, how you doing, Jane? Everybody, this is going to be a not so long live stream, but it's something I did in reaction to a bit of news that happened late at night relative to the East Coast, and it has to do with the mayor of Oakland spokesperson issuing a statement that boils down to, well, we had 475 million, and we're 101 million off. Oh, okay. So, look, this happens after 2 days after John Fisher announces that the Oakland Athletics have filed for relocation to Las Vegas. So this is clearly just, you know, what they used to call in some areas of strategy spitballing, quite literally throwing something against the wall and seeing what sticks. Because the city knows collectively that it didn't do its job. But what better way to show that that the Howard Terminal is gone and that Hollywood dreams of having a brand new stadium in downtown Oakland are kaput than the fact that Molly Maybrun, okay? Molly Maybrun, the embattled project manager of the project of Howard Terminal, has left the building for another job. She announced that 3 days ago on LinkedIn. But Michael Colbruno informed me that Molly had actually been gone some months ago. And Michael has this role where he's been, you know, goosing the A's on Twitter and then hosting these fundraising events for schools, not stadiums, attracting, 15 people. Okay. Oh, yeah. But I said to Michael, hey, if that's the case, then you mean to tell me that the city has been faking having a project manager? She's actually been gone for months. Kind of like the city is now faking that it has 475 million and it's 101 million off, forgetting. This is where you really have to pay attention. And it's kind of a test to determine the degree to which you have been paying attention, right? That the A's were projected to have to pay 450 million for community benefits, which they fully expect to do from a but for perspective. In other words, but for the ballpark, there would be this, or not be, this tax increment money to pay for the 450 million in community benefits. How many years have you heard that song? Right? So all of a sudden, when Sheng and company say, we've got the money, they say they have the 600, almost 600 million, but they forget the 450 million, which who's going to account for that? The A's are gone. It is quite clear that the mayor is trying to make a case that she believes will scuttle the relocation attempt. It won't. Sheng doesn't understand, and she clearly didn't get this as council member because she wasn't on the deal team. She wasn't behind closed doors. She had no stake in the project. Indeed, she didn't want to be seen as supporting Howard Terminal outwardly because it became a progressive issue. In other words, if you were progressive, you were for Coliseum City in East Oakland. But if you weren't, you were for Howard Terminal. Ugh. Okay? So now here, Sheng finds herself painted into a corner, right? Oh, gee, what do I do? I'm mayor now. I have to support the A's, which means I have to support Howard Terminal, which, for all practical purposes, I wasn't exactly working toward the passage of. I was sort of giving a kind of hearty, little tiny pinky finger or finger like this instead of a fist, like, yeah, go, right? But no, She was making absolutely certain her progressive bona fides were intact all the time, talking about how she would do it differently, make the A's pay more for community benefits and affordable housing, not exactly knowing the economics of the projects because you're not knowing them, period. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Okay? Let me get your comments now. He says, yeah, it is a lot of money, but you know what? It's big business. Wow. He says, just mismanagement all around. Yes. Sheng is still in denial the A's ship sailed long ago. She's trying to put a good political face on it. You know, if she really wanted to put a good political face on it, this is what she'd do. She'd make a pitch for the Brewers. If I were mayor, that's what I would do. I wouldn't waste a second in trying to stop the A's from going to Las Vegas. If I were the new mayor coming in, and in my case, if I ran, I wouldn't have been a council member, so I wouldn't have been beholden to anyone. I would have said, we're going after the Brewers. We're going to develop this, and we're going to bring conventions and sports and entertainment back to Oakland in fine fashion. In one smooth stroke. Okay? That's what I would do. But this begging for something that wasn't going to happen because the city, in its habit, generations long habit, or at least a generation and a half long habit of slowly reacting to anything that has to do with sports and economic development. In other words, oh, we won't rebuild the stadium because they're not going to leave. Remember how we lost the Raiders the first time? Or, of course, you don't because you weren't around, or maybe you weren't even in Oakland at the time. But I was, because Al Davis threatened to move the Raiders if he didn't get his luxury boxes. But what does it boil down to? Disinvestment on the city and the county's part. That has been the constant song going all the way back to 1980. All right? 1979 really is when this whole thing started with the Raiders. They wanted new luxury boxes. And the city took the collective idea that they're not going to go anywhere. And Al Davis said, want to bet? The city angered him to a point where he was determined to prove Oakland wrong. And he did. And Oakland to this day still has not gotten the message. Think about it. Think about it. Okay? Think about it. Vegas Mark says, Sheng is still in denial. I got that one. Then he says, Oakland needs its own convention center even before thinking about bringing in a new sports franchise. Absolutely. Zinette keep hearing about the $475 million. Do they have it or don't? No, they don't. Okay? They don't. All right? So I'm saying that they don't because they haven't actually shown the check that says, here it is. You know how you have this big ceremony, right? Where everybody gets together and there's this big check. Have you seen it? No. Have I seen it? No. Who's seen it? I've been to those ceremonies. I remember when the Department of Transportation rep came down to designate BART in the area around it at Fruitvale BART a transit village. $760 million secured by then Oakland Council member Ignacio de la Fuente, among others. Federal money. I know what those big checks look like. Have you seen it? Have you seen it? Anybody, show me a picture or video of the mayor holding up a big check. Okay, where is it? Okay, where's the big check? Where's the ceremony? You and I both know, as much as politicians love the spotlight, that the first thing they would have done is said, hey, you know what? We've got this money. Let's have a press conference to celebrate and parade around with a big check. Ooh boy. That didn't happen. Okay? Think about it. It didn't happen. All right? They probably took that money for their own gain. The bottom line is no one's seen it. These are just talking points to make themselves look good to the media while the A's make the reality happen that they're leaving just by their actions. Where the city is flails, okay? I'll be back to talk about this more, but I want to get this out there right now. If the city had the money for Howard Terminal, they would have kept their project manager, Molly Maybrun. She took off. There is no project manager. There is no real estate staff. So why do you want to get the A's back if you don't have the money or anybody to really do anything about it? It's ridiculous. You know what I want? Hire me as project manager and let's go after the Brewers. Let's get the Brewers in Oakland. Let's do to other people what they've been doing to us for so long. I think it's our turn. I'll see you. Subscribe to Zenny62 and bookmark oaklandnewsnowblog.com. I'll see you. Yeah, it is a shame that this goes on. You're right. And the Bay Area media hasn't pushed the city about this. Take this video and post around all the other videos about Howard Terminal. So help me push this point. Okay? Do that. I'll see you.